You know Obrafour's voice? You know Sarkodie's bars? Tinny's energy? Tiny. But the sound underneath all of it, the drums, the chords, the DNA of Ghanaian rap itself, came from one man. A man most fans have never seen. He never wanted to be famous. He wanted to build people who would be. His name is Hammer of the Last Two, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why some call him the most important man in Ghanaian music history, and why he gave that importance away again and again to other people. Here's something you'll start to notice as we go through each artist. Hammer has a habit. Every single time he finds a new artist, everyone around him thinks he's making a mistake. The language is wrong, the style is too raw, the timing is off. He bets anyway, and he wins. Every time. We're going to count those bets, and by artist number 5, you'll understand exactly what kind of man we're dealing with. It's 1999. Ghana's rap scene is alive, but it's missing something nobody can name yet. Reggie Rockstone had shown that you could rap in Chewy and people would move, but the records felt light. They felt good, not heavy, not soulful, not like they were carrying the full weight of what Ghana had been through. Then, a young man walks into a studio. He's a school dropout. He lost his mother. He carries grief the way some people carry religion, quietly, constantly, in every word he speaks. His name is Obrafour, and Hammer hears something in him that no other producer had stopped long enough to notice. He doesn't just give Obrafour a beat, he builds Obrafour a world. Hard drums that punch through the chest, horn stabs that carry the weight of a Akan proverb, production that understood Ghana's pain and Ghana's pride at the same time. Together they came out with Pay Muka in November 1999, co-produced by Hammer of the Last Two and Way Deep, considered one of the best Hiplife album of all time in Ghana's history. The album wins Ghana Music Awards. It plays on every radio station. It plays before and after shows as an intro and outro for years. Radio stations use it like a national anthem. But here is the detail that gets lost in the history books. Obrafour had already started recording with another producer before Hammer came in. The album existed, but it didn't sound like what it needed to sound like. It was Hammer who came in and gave it the weight, the identity, the sound that made every bar Obrafour rapped feel like it carried the whole of Ghana on its back. According to Music Historical Record, Pay Muka is considered one of the best Hiplife albums of all time, serving as a model for other Hiplife rap albums to follow. Every Hiplife rap album that came after Pay Muka was, in some way, trying to reach that standard. Hammer set the bar on his first attempt. Pay Muka is still dominating the airwaves. Obrafour is the name on every lip in Ghana, and Hammer is already looking for the next challenge. Tinny had already been pursuing music before meeting Hammer. In fact, years later, Tinny himself would clarify that Hammer did not discover him. He simply paid Hammer to record him.
Sometimes people get it twisted, say, hey, yeah. Yesterday, somebody was asking me, how many whatever Hammer has discovered? I said, okay. Me, I can't tell because I went to Hammer to go and I paid Hammer to record with him. He didn't look for me, he didn't discover me. Because a lot of people think that Hammer crying my home.
What Hammer gave Tinny wasn't discovery, it was direction. While almost everyone around Tinny wanted him to rap in Chewy, Hammer insisted that his Ga identity was his greatest strength and history would prove him right.
Some of the songs where I want rap Chewy on, Hammer they tell me, so, oh no, I have a rap Ga on it. Because he liked my leakage, he liked my the off time, the style. You see?
Different flavor.
I actually did, check this out, I actually did a Chewy full album, like Chewy album, okay, for Ashanti International.
Okay.
Chewy is safer, it has bigger audience, and it works. Every successful Hiplife artist up to this point has rapped in Chewy. Tinny's own family are pushing him towards rapping in Chewy. The whole industry is pointing in that direction. Hammer says no, calmly, repeatedly, no. His reasoning is so clear it sounds obvious in hindsight, but nobody else in the industry had thought it through. Hammer realized that the change of language Tinny wanted would self-destruct him because he could not compete with the Chewy rappers, but the Ga language would set him apart and serve as a new delicacy for those bored with Chewy rap. If Tinny raps in Chewy, he's competing with Obrafour. On Obrafour's ground, he loses. If Tinny raps in Ga, he owns an entire community that has never had a voice in Ghanaian rap. He wins. But first, Hammer needs to prove the concept before the album drops. His move is surgical. He features Tinny on Obrafour's Oye Ohene remix, the biggest platform in Ghanaian rap at the time, and lets the crowd hear Ga bars over a Hammer beat on Obrafour's record first. Let Ghana hear the Ga bars, then release the album. The crowd responds, the Ga community explodes, and suddenly, Tinny is a star before his debut album even exists. When the album drops, Makola Kwakwe, then Aletse, then Kabwame, the Ga community claims Tinny as their own. By this point, something remarkable is happening, and almost nobody in the industry is talking about it. Hammer has built Obrafour as the voice of Chewy-speaking Ghana. He's built Tinny as the voice of Ga-speaking Accra, and now he has a new mission. He casts his net, and it catches Kwaw Kese. Kwaw Kese travels from Agona Swedru in the Central Region specifically to find Hammer, coming through one of Hammer's existing artists, Dogo, just to get in the room. The first audition is enough. Hammer hears it immediately.
Kwaw, you walk from Swedru to Accra. That be what?
Kwaw Kese walked from Swedru to Accra.
Yeah.
To just come and record.
He sleep twice on the road. For I think Budumburam and
Winneba or something.
Yeah, he did come to like Budumburam.
Within 3 months of grooming, Hammer releases a single, Uye Nonsense. The demand is instant. Concerts want Kwaw Kese before the album even exists. The follow-up single, Kwakwa, certifies it. Kwaw Kese is real. He's not a gimmick. He's not a moment. He's a movement. And note what Hammer has done again. He's ignored the conventional wisdom. Fanti isn't a mainstream commercial language. The Central Region doesn't have the same population base as the Chewy-speaking territories. The industry would never have greenlit this. He had built Obrafour for Chewy, Tinny for Ga, and now he was building Kwaw Kese for Fante. Hammer builds icons out of mere people. 3 artists, 3 different languages, 3 different communities in Ghana that had never had a major rap voice. Now each had one. This isn't coincidence. This is a mission. If you've been counting, you know what's coming. Hammer has given Chewy its rap voice, Ga its rap voice, Fanti its rap voice. The Volta Region, the Ewe-speaking community, is still waiting. Then, in 2006, a young rapper named Edem from the Volta Region catches Hammer's attention. Edem had already released Witin Woshi, meaning we came and they ran, a song that built underground heat in his region. But the wider Ghanaian market hadn't felt it yet. Hammer signs Edem to the Last 2 Entertainment Group in 2006, and then Hammer does what Hammer does. He takes his time. 2 years in studio from December 2006 to December 2008. Hammer and Edem were building something that would last.
So from 2006, we recorded the album for a period of 2 years to 2008, and then my first single officially came out in 2009.
The debut single, Bouges, gets airplay across the whole country, not just the Volta region, the whole country. And then comes The Volta Regime, produced entirely by Hammer, all compositions his. The album lands like a declaration. The Volta Region has entered the Ghanaian rap conversation, and it isn't leaving. Hammer revealed the signing of Edem onto his label is the greatest business decision he has made so far in his career. Undoubtedly, one of the greatest albums in Ghana's music history. I don't hear language, I hear greatness. Sarkodie on the Volta Regime, July 2025. The fact that Sarkodie, Africa's biggest rapper, is still publicly praising that album in 2025 tells you everything you need to know about what Hammer built with Edem. And inside the Volta Regime, buried in the track list, is a moment that would change everything again. But that's the next story. While Hammer is deep in studio with Edem, building the Volta Regime, a young man from Tema is making noise on the rap battle circuit. He competes on Adom FM's Kasahar level. He wins the Tema Regional Championship. He connects with a manager, Duncan Williams of Dunk Wills Entertainment. He's moving, but he hasn't been heard yet, not on record, not on anything that lasts. Then two of Edem's connections, artists Edem and Castro, introduce him to Hammer. In the meeting of Sarkodie and Hammer, he gave a freestyle. What happens next changes Ghanaian rap forever. Hammer hears the flow, the speed, the wit, the reasoning packed into every bar. He doesn't hesitate. He puts Sarkodie on 2 tracks inside the Volta Regime, the album he's already building for Edem. One of those tracks is You Dey Craze, featuring Kwaw Kese, Edem, and this unknown name, Sarkodie. Ghana hears Sarkodie for the first time, and Ghana stops. On January 25th, 2008, Hammer signs both Sarkodie and Edem to the last 2 music group on the same day. He calls them the new school of recruits to redirect hip-hop in Ghana. And then, Hammer faces the hardest decision of his career.
And he signed Sarkodie and I the same day. We signed the same 5-year contract the same day. He was seated next to me at Bus Stop Restaurant.
Visa, 5 years.
He was seated next to me at Bus Stop Restaurant, but
we said at the start that every time Hammer makes a bet, everyone around him thinks he's wrong. This time, for the first time, Hammer is the one who has to choose between being right and being generous. And what he chooses says everything about who he is. You Dey Craze is a hit. Sarkodie's verse is the talk of the streets. The industry wants more, but Hammer works slowly, nearly a year, to build a proper album. Sarkodie's momentum can't wait that long. Sarkodie's original manager, Duncan Williams, is still in his corner. Sarkodie asks Hammer if he can go back to Dunk Wills to release faster, keep the momentum going. A lesser person holds the contract. A lesser person says, "You signed with me, you record with me, on my timeline." I agreed unconditionally, believing that trying to be selfish would have ruined the young man's career. I therefore dissolved his contract so he could fly. It paid off eventually, and I am proud of both him and Ayigba Edem, Hammer of the last 2. Hammer lets him go. No bitterness, no public drama, no attempt to claim credit when Sarkodie becomes Africa's biggest rapper. Sarkodie has been publicly clear about who discovered him. When a debate surfaced about whether it was Kwaw Kese or Hammer who found him first, he set the record straight.
I think 10, 11. I make coffee. And I call by. Before I call, and then the person said, "Yo, is this Sarkodie?" I said, "Yes, please." So, what introduce what to say? I said, "So my name is Hammer. Hammer of the last 2. And is it possible to send to me about studio now?" They say, "Oh, no, me could Gina do be home." And I'm a chalky. They say, "No, I'm not sure." I say, "Oh no, what time so I would do me?" She said, "Come to me."
Like Sarkodie, I was his biggest fan on radio when he was with Duncan, you know, and I thought this guy was going to be the best, you know, and I called the station and I told him that, "Look, you're going to be the best." I think 3 or 4 years later, that's when he approached me, and I realized that all this guy needed was a big platform to show what he has.
Pause here and look at what this man actually did. Before Hammer, Ghanaian rap was almost entirely chewy. That was the commercial safe zone. That was the path every artist and every label followed. Hammer looked at that and saw something nobody else was willing to see. Ghana has more than one language, more than one community, more than one culture with stories that deserve to be rapped. After Obrafour's album, Hammer took up a new dream to spread Hiplife through all of Ghana's dialects instead of the stereotypical Akan language. He challenged himself by risking the production of albums in other unpopular dialects and made history again and again and again. And in 2013, all 5 of these artists came together to record a song for a concert celebrating Hammer. They called it Yeda Wasi, meaning we give thanks.
University. Oh God, boys I yade, boys in play dog. I'ma try me say, make you no fall. So be Jimia, make you no fall. Just do what you they do and move on. Make more.
Hammer over the decades has contributed towards the development of Hiplife and hip-hop in Ghana. He picked some rappers off the streets and turned them into superstars. It is a worthy cause to have him celebrated. The Last Two Family Statement, 2013. What does Ghanaian rap look like if you remove Hammer from the story? Here is the honest answer. There is no Paimuka with that weight. Obrafour's debut exists, but it doesn't become the blueprint that every Hiplife rapper after it was measured against. Without Hammer's guidance, Tinny's story may have taken a completely different direction. The Ga identity that made him unique might never have become the foundation of his success. Kwaw Kese stays in Agona Swidru. The Fanti rap movement never happens. Edem never gets 2 years in a studio with someone who believes in him enough to wait. The Volta Region, which Sarkodie called one of Ghana's greatest albums in 2025, never exists, and Sarkodie, the man who would go on to win BET awards, fill stadiums across Africa, and become the benchmark every Ghanaian rapper is measured against, never gets his first professional recording. This is not a small hole in the story, this is the story collapsing entirely, and he did all of it quietly, consistently, over 2 decades, without ever making himself the story. The greatest career in Ghanaian music history belonged to someone you've never seen perform.
And you have been pivotal in the household names, the Edems and the Sarkodies and the Tinnies and Obrafours, and I mean, how does it feel for you knowing that you've been the guiding light for these young guys coming up?
Well, it feels good. It feels good that it feels good when you are part of people's success, when you contribute to the life-changing experience of these young men. I feel very, very, very good, especially when they came together to do a song for me.
If this video gave you a name you'll never forget, subscribe to Fame Africa. This is what we do. We find the stories behind the stories and drop a comment. Which Hammer artist do you think deserved more global recognition? Obrafour, Edem, Kwaw Kese, Sarkodie, Tinny, or someone else entirely? We read every comment, every single one. Our full documentaries on Obrafour and Reggie Rockstone are in the description. If this video moved you, those two will complete the picture.